show you how to shoot time-lapse. Now time-lapses are amazing. You take a video, you fast forward it, the result you get is a time-lapse. Now in this video I will show you a different technique that will allow you to shoot very high quality and crisp looking time-lapses. This video will be divided into two parts. The first part is where I show you how to shoot the time-lapse, and the second part is where I show you how to edit the time-lapses. It is going to be an amazing video. I just can't wait. So without wasting any time, let's get into it. For shooting time-lapse, we are going to use interval timer method that will allow us to take consecutive shots, and later in editing we are going to club those shots and make it into a video. So interval timer method is basically present in most of the cameras. The name might be different depending on the company of the cameras, but the overall idea and the overall procedure remains the same. So in interval timer method, we are going to control two settings. The first one is going to be number of shots. Now the video which we are going to make is going to be of 24 frames per second, meaning 1 second will contain 24 images. So if you want the time lapse to be 10 seconds longer, you have to click 24 into 10, that is 240 images. The next setting is going to be the interval. Now interval is basically the time gap between two consecutive images. Now if the subject is moving very fast, so the scene which I'm shooting, the clouds are not moving very fast, so I'm going to keep my interval at about 2 seconds. If the subjects are moving very fast, keep the interval at 1 second. And if the subjects are not moving very fast and it is slow, then try and keep the interval about 3 to 4 seconds. Now for taking the images, I'm going to be in aperture priority mode. So I will set my ISO to 100 because it is daytime, and I'm going to keep my aperture at about f10. So f10 will allow me to keep everything in focus, and then since I'm in aperture priority mode, in course of the time lapse, if my image gets a bit brighter, the camera will decrease the shutter speed. If the scene gets a bit darker, my camera will adjust the shutter speed and basically maintain a similar exposure throughout the images. So when I convert it into a time lapse, it will be a very gradual and smooth transition. So now once you have done shooting all the images, now it's time to edit them. So the very first step is importing all the files that you have shot. So for importing, go to File, go to Import Photos and Videos, and select the destination folder where you have all the files. I have already imported the files and I have shot it in RAW just because I can tweak them later in editing and I can make them look better. So once you have imported all the images, go to the develop module. So now once you're in the develop module, you have to kind of edit the RAW files. Now if you're not familiar with editing RAW files, I have a separate video for it. The link will be down in the description below. So once you have edited a single RAW file, what you have to do is kind of select all the images and then press on synchronize. So once you click on synchronize, all the images will have same settings throughout the image, and basically all the images will look similar. So if I scroll through the images, you can see all the images look similar, but only the subjects are moving. So you have to synchronize the settings, and once you're synchronized, so right click and export, and for exporting we are going to use JPEG file format. So again, exporting like 300-400 images is going to take time. So wait and have patience because this technique requires a bit of patience, but the final outcome is totally worth it. Now I've already exported the files. Here are all the 400 JPEGs. Now I'm going to take these JPEGs and import it into Adobe Premiere Pro. Now there are many softwares that can do this thing, but I prefer Adobe Premiere Pro for making time lapses. So I make a new project and I click on OK. Now for importing, I'm going to go to File and Import, and I'm going to select my first image, and then I will select Options and I will tick mark the image sequence. So since you shot the images in a sequence, there will be a numbered sequence, and you just have to select the one image and click on image sequence, and that will do the job for you guys. So just click on Import and there will be a separate timeline. As you can see here, just drop that particular image sequence into the timeline, and now we are going to change the sequence settings. So we are going to change the frame size to 1920 and 1080. So since we want our final time lapse to be of 1080p resolution, I'm going to change my time base to 24 frames per second, and then I'm going to tick mark this and then click on OK. So now the image resolution is much more higher than 1920 by 1080. So I'm going to scale them. So select the media and then go to scale and adjust this scale till you are happy. So about 32 is where my images look proper. So now basically you are done. If you export this video, you will get a time lapse, but we want kind of a zooming out effect. So I'm going to add another keyframe for motion. I'm going to scale this to 35 and I'm going to add a keyframe here, and then I'm going to go to the end and I'm going to click this at about 32 and I'm going to add another keyframe, so that when I move through the time lapse, I'm basically zooming out and you have that very good zooming out effect which gives a dynamic look. So this is all about the editing, and you just have to now export the video. So click on File, click on Export, click on Media. So now if you want to upload the time lapse to YouTube, your format should be H264 and your preset should be YouTube 1080p HD. So once you're done, you basically select maximum render quality. That will just enhance the quality of the video, and then click on export and wait for the video to get exported. So here is the final result. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. At first it might seem a bit difficult because you are shooting 200, 300 or 400 images, and editing can be a bit time consuming depending on the machine that you're using for editing, but the final result is completely worth it. You get very high resolution and crisp time lapses. So get used to it and create amazing time lapses. I will talk to you guys in the next one. Bye.